From Public Radio International, this is The World. A co-production of the BBC World Service, PRI, and WGBH Boston. It's Thursday, June 17th. I'm Marco Werman. Israel says it will ease its blockade of Gaza. We'll hear from Gaza about what goods may get through now. Also, the spill in the Gulf is the subject of another hearing on Capitol Hill.
I give my pledge as the leader of BP that we will not rest until we make this right.
The British-based oil giant says it will compensate victims of the gusher in the Gulf. That's got some BP shareholders complaining that they're victims too. Plus, the Blind Boys of Alabama make music in Morocco. First, this news.
BBC News with Fiona MacDonald. The chief executive of the oil company BP, Tony Hayward, has come under ferocious criticism before a US congressional hearing held to examine the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Mr Hayward called the situation a tragedy, but he defended his approach to safety. Paul Adams reports from Washington.
The chairman of the committee, Bart Stupak, predicted that Tony Hayward would, in his words, be sliced and diced during the course of this hearing. Leading the charge, Henry Waxman of California said that under Mr Hayward's leadership, BP had taken the most extreme risks to save time and money. For an hour and a half, the accusations flew before the embattled Mr Hayward finally had a chance to speak, delivering a statement full of contrition and pledges to do the right thing. But crucially, he said that a full account of what happened on April the 20th must await the outcome of multiple investigations. That's unlikely to satisfy his interrogators.
Israel's decision to ease its 3-year blockade of Gaza has been met with scepticism by international organisations. Amnesty International said Israel had yet to comply with international law by lifting the blockade immediately. As Johnny Hogg reports, the Palestinian reaction has also been negative.
Hamas, the Palestinian group that controls Gaza, has dismissed this softening of restrictions as merely cosmetic. Others have welcomed the move. The Middle East envoy, Tony Blair, described it as an important step towards easing the lives of Gazans. The head of the UN's relief agency in Gaza said it was too early to say how Israeli words would be translated into actions. Some, including the Russian government, are calling for a complete end to the blockade.
A new UN report is warning that organised crime has become a global force and threatens international peace and national sovereignty. The study by the UN Office on Drugs and Crime called organised crime one of the foremost economic and armed powers in the world. Bethany Bell reports.
The head of the UNODC, Antonio Maria Costa, says the criminal market now spans the globe. He said the new report shows how illegal goods are sourced in one continent, trafficked across another, and marketed in a third, often matching the flows of legal trade. The report says in some regions, including West Africa and Central Asia, transnational crime is a threat to peace and development. The report says organised crime thrives because of the demand that exists for drugs, prostitution, cheap labour and counterfeit goods.
5 Somalis have been convicted of piracy in a Dutch court and sentenced to 5 years in prison. It's the first ruling of its kind in a European court. They were found guilty of attacking a cargo ship off the coast of Somalia in 2009. The men were arrested by European anti-piracy vessels. They argued they had been mistaken for pirates. World News from the BBC. The European Union has agreed to impose new, tougher sanctions on Iran over its controversial nuclear programme. The measures, which go substantially beyond those approved by the United Nations earlier this month, are designed to pressure Tehran to halt its uranium enrichment activity and return to negotiations. Russia has sharply criticised the EU and Washington for imposing additional